Okay, this is what we're supposed to have done in our packet. You are supposed to read all three of the, or all four of those sentences and decide which one best describes the picture over here. It looks like there's a soldier and he's talking to a boy of some sort, and I think that that's probably going to be our answer, but we'll look at all of them just in case. It says that the soldier explained how he had captured the young boy. He's not explaining anything here. The soldier asked the boy who he was. That's the action that I remember uh, this describing. So hopefully you picked that one out. What kind of sentence is this? Well, we have an indirect question in there. Excuse me. We have an indirect question in there. We had an indirect question in the previous sentence as well with the quo modo and the capisit. In C, we have guard having entered into the prison, looked around or inspected the cells. Ingressi is a perfect active participle. And we have an indirect question in the final one, which is I believe it's the spy did not know why Modestus was shouting. Okay, looking at number 2, hopefully the action is fairly clear right here. Somebody's getting beaten up. We have a young man was not able to say what he was doing near the granary. I don't think he's saying anything in this picture. It is better for you to burn down the granary. The young man was lying in the corner of the cell, where the soldier who was standing near the cell was astonished. So if he's not able to say anything, probably going to be this guy. This one here, we have a soldier was standing near the gate of the prison. We have a young man ask why the gate or the door of the cell was open. And then we have C, the leader gave orders to the centurion, or the soldier explained to the centurion how he had captured the boy. Um, well, I'm pretty sure that this is the one we're going to go with. He's saying, hey, here's how I caught the guy. Uh, there's no opening of the cell here. There's no orders being given. And he's not standing in the doorway or the gate of anything. Finally, here we have 4. And by the way, 3 is kind of tricky. It's kind of tricky. Number 4, we have the young man explain how he captured the soldier. I think that's it. The centurion was asking why the boy had come into the camp. It does look like an interrogation there. So the soldier recognized where the prince of the Deccan Glorian was lying. And then D, the centurion was asking in which cell the young man was enclosed. I think that what he's doing here is he's asking him why what he's doing in the camp. Okay, direct questions versus indirect questions. What they want you to do here is to underline the main verb. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to highlight instead. I'm going to underline the main verb, which in this case, in the direct question is Akita. I'm going to bracket. I'm going to use a bracket like this. Just 2 lines of straight lines, if that's okay. And then I'm going to underline the subjunctive that's being used in the indirect question. The original question was what happened. The indirect question is Modestus did not know what had happened. Again, we have present tense, and it's changing to the pluperfect tense. Guys, don't let that confuse you. The question is being asked right now. It's in quotations. It's being asked as if it were in the present. The indirect question is not. It is being told in the after the fact. Ace right here is the main verb. Esset is the verb in the indirect question. Quis esset is the indirect question. Translation number 1, who are you? And for B, it is the soldier was wanting, or sorry, the soldier wanted to know who you were. Make sure we translate that esset right there as imperfect. A, we have where are Quintus and Duminorix fleeing? Main verb is fugere. That's in the perfect. Fugiscent becomes pluperfect. Quo is the introductory element, an introductory question word. So there's my indirect question. Saulius finally understood where Quintus and Duminorix had fled. We're at number 5 now. We have the main verb in winisti. Changes to in winicit. That ends the clause. The beginning of the clause is the question word quomodo. Translation, how did you find the slave? And the indirect question, Saulius asked how Polemachus had found the slave. Make sure that you use had with the pluperfect there. Here we have adulas, changing to adueret. Cur is the introductory question word for the indirect question. We have in the A, we have why are you helping the king? And B, Quintus explained why he was helping the king. Again, whether it's imperfect or pluperfect, we're still translating like we would if it were indicative. The difference is that it's being used in these special little phrases like cum clauses and direct questions. A, we have main verb is sunt. Down here, it becomes essent. The in quibus is the introductory question there. So don't let those fool you. You will have some like this where you have that relative pronoun showing up as the introductory question word. So in which cells are the prisoners? And the centurion was asking in which cells the prisoners were. So in this exercise, hopefully you're able to see how the direct and indirect questions are related. Finally, we have verb splash. Now, I'm not writing too much on this. I'm just going to dot it and tell you how to translate it. Okay, number 1, I was, because of the BA, I was opening. This is the infinitive, to open. This is the present active participle, opening. This is the command, open. That's imperative. It's one of our new moods. Not new, but one of the ones we've been talking about. This is we had opened. And this is subjunctive, and it's perfect, pluperfect subjunctive. Alperti. How about this one? Tricking you? This is the perfect passive participle. If you look up there, the perfect passive participle is opertus. So we get a perty down there, a party word. It is having been opened. We get number 7 as we open, present tense. We get number 8 as you all, TIS. So you all opened, that's the perfect tense. Number 9, we get pluperfect indicative. They had opened. For number 10, we get the imperfect subjunctive. You were opening. And then finally, you get he, she, or it opens. Looking at explico, explicavit, etc. We're going to start with number 1. That is pluperfect. So you had explained. Perfect. I explained. This one is present. We explain. That's the command, plural command, because of the te at the end of it. Explain. To explain. That's the infinitive. Present active participle, explaining. Perfect passive participle, having been explained. He, she, or it had explained. That's the pluperfect subjunctive. I explained. That's the present indicative. I was explaining. That's the imperfect indicative. And then the explicatus, you all were explaining. That's the imperfect subjunctive. All right, uh, these are irregular forms. Just real quick. These are irregular forms of WOLO and be. I would really suggest that you spend a little extra time, if you can, with these words, with the SUMs, with the WOLOs, and with the pharaohs, because we use them so often in this language. Number one, you are. Number two, he, she, it was. That's the imperfect subjunctive. We get the pluperfect here. Again, fui is the perfect stem. We add ERA, we get the pluperfect. They had been. Imperfect is I was. Pluperfect subjunctive, they had been. To be, that's the infinitive. They are, that's the present. We are, still present indicative. You all were, that's the imperfect indicative. We had been. Again, that ERA signifies, when you're using it with the perfect stem, that signifies the pluperfect indicative. And then finally, you all were, and that's the imperfect subjunctive. For D, letter D, we have you wish or you want. I was wanting, to want, they wanted, they had wanted, you were wanting. That one's kind of tricky. That one bugged me for a second. That is the imperfect subjunctive. He, she, or it had wanted. We want. That's the present tense. And then we have we wanted, he wants, and they want. Again, especially the be verb. I would make sure that I spend a little extra time on that. So there are your answers for your handout. Hopefully you guys had a fun time doing that for me.